Welcome back to this episode of your Kingsport blog video update. I'm Jeff Fleming, Assistant City Manager for Development. Today we want to talk about the Center Street Road Diet. There's been a lot of talk lately about potential changes to Center Street. The state of Tennessee next year, 2014, is planning to repave Center Street from Fort Henry Drive to through downtown Kingsport to Clinchville Street. When they do, it's an opportune time to consider lane modifications that make sense in that stretch. So for a number of years now, the City of Kingsport has worked with Healthy Kingsport, with the Downtown Kingsport Association, with the YMCA, Kingsport Tomorrow, and others to look at the Complete Streets movement. Complete Streets movement means that that roads aren't built just for vehicles. It's also pedestrian and bicyclists need to be considered. So one of the techniques in that area is considered a road diet. What is a road diet? A road diet means you're basically shrinking the laneage, if you will, of the road. So the proposal is that from Sullivan Street to Clinchville Street in the middle of downtown Kingsport, you would go from 2 lanes in each direction to 1 lane in each direction with a center turn lane. The remaining lane would be divided in half and then put on each side to give a buffer for people who are parking so they can open their door, get out, not be so close to a traveling car. And that lane would also serve as a bicycle lane. We are not doing it for bicycle lanes. It becomes a bicycle lane by default. I don't want people to get the impression that we're trying to take cars off of Center Street so we can put bicycles on Center Street. It's a byproduct of that initiative. In the right application, just like a roundabout, a road diet is a very reasonable solution, but it has to be exactly the right type of application. So to make sure that we did not proceed in a fashion that was going to be just wishful thinking, we wanted to have an in-depth analysis. We hired an experienced consultant from Nashville to take a look at it. They did a preliminary study and determined that what they found was that we could proceed to the second phase of the study to determine whether a road diet would work in our situation. So the preliminary and final results did corroborate the assumption that it would work in Kingsport. The traffic count on Center Street has been very stable for many, many years. In fact, at times it's been a little higher in the past due to the heavy manufacturing. You know, Kingsport Press used to have 2,000 employees. Now there are about 500 in that 20 acres. Domtar used to have many more employees. So there used to be more traffic on Center Street. So it makes sense to kind of recapture some of that and repurpose it, if you will. Now, what happens right now is if you're driving down the center or the inside lane, we're taught in driver's ed that the inside lane is the quote-unquote fast lane, and the outside lane is, the slow lane, so to speak. Well, if you don't have a turn lane, then the inside lane becomes a default turn lane. So let's say you're driving down Center Street and the posted speed limit's 30 miles an hour, and let's say you're going 35 or 40, and you glance up and suddenly somebody in the inside lane is in a dead stop right in front of you. So you have to make a decision. Do you just stop and wait for them to turn, or do you try to shoot the gap to the right to go around them on the right side? And similarly, on the right side, people are trying to go weave around to the left side. So you end up creating this weaving pattern all through town, which introduces many potential safety issues and conflict points. So currently, there are 81% of the travelers that are choosing to use the outside lane because they're anticipating a conflict in the inside lane. So since they're already choosing the outside lane, the 2 inside lanes by default have become 2 turn lanes. So by making it 1 turn lane with as many traffic signals and blocks as there are in downtown Kingsport, it makes a lot of sense because it ends up sorting out those who intend to turn and those who intend to go through rather than trying to pass people all back and forth. So the big concern was time travel from one side of town to the other. And what the finding was that most travelers on Center Street would see no change or no noticeable delay in their travel time. In fact, it could improve a few seconds or it could slow down a few seconds. But what we're talking about is literally seconds. So it's not going to be a noticeable difference in travel from one side of town to the other. So we think it's a really reasonable proposal. We're going to be discussing it with the Board of Mayor and Aldermen here in the next week. And we would encourage you to go to our website. We have both of the letters that I referenced. We have the final letter. We have the preliminary letter from the consultant, and both of those are pretty lengthy, so you can study it and see what you think for yourself. We also have a link to the Federal Highway Administration website that explains what road diets are and gives you an idea of other places that they have been applied. And then there's also a very short video. I think it's about 3 minutes. It doesn't take much of your time. And you can watch and hear from other communities across the country where they have done this, and it has worked very effectively. So we hope that we've built some trust with the community because we've done these types of projects on Center Street behind Dobbins-Bennett. We've also done it Center Street in the Highland area between Eastman Road and Memorial Boulevard. We've made some lane change configurations at the intersection of Eastman Road and Center Street that have been very favorably received. So we hope we've earned some trust in some of these choices, and that's what we're kind of proceeding with in the future. We've notified all the property owners that are going to be directly impacted on Center Street. We have also personally visited the businesses and left a flyer if they weren't home, so to speak, for them to call for more information. We have blasted it on Facebook to more than 4,000 friends, Facebook friends. We've sent it to more than 1,000 Twitter accounts. So we've tried to be sure and get the word out. But if you have any questions whatsoever, please give me a call. My number is 423-914-9530. That's a mobile number, so you can text me. Or you can call me after hours. That's certainly fine. We're publicizing that number because I want to be available to answer your questions. And you can also contact me by email at jefflemming@kingsporttn.gov. Or, as I said earlier, go to our website, development.kingsporttn.gov, and look for Center Street Road Diet. And please take the time to educate yourself and ask us questions because we want to make sure you're informed with the choices. So that's the video update for today, and I look forward to talking to you soon.